Flight Path, back to you.
Well, joining us now to talk about why dividends matter and to answer your money questions is financial expert Terry Savage. Good morning.
Hi, Terry.
Good morning.
So, Terry, I have to ask you, last time you were here, we were talking about the stock market.
Right.
And are we expecting a bubble to burst on the market since it's been going well? People are kind of wondering if it's a good time.
I don't think it's a bubble,
No?
and the jury's out on that. Interest rates will climb higher. That's usually a bad sign, but it could attract a lot more money to America, the, quote, safest place in the world, so that might go into the stock market. There's no one answer on where the stock market is going. Last week I said, if you're getting a little older, you have a lot of profits, we've had a long run, you might want to take some off the table. And then I was thinking about that for my next column, and I thought about the fact that we really need to understand another reason to buy stocks, and that's because today if you get 0.25% in your money market fund or CD, the average dividend yield of the S&P 500 is 2%. That's better. There are many stocks paying 4 and 5%. But how do you find them? How do you pick them? Overall, though, you need to know that over the long run, nearly half, about 40% of the stock market's total return comes from dividends. So that's why you want to look for dividends. I'm going to just you can read the column at terrysavage.com, but let me just basically say that there's a wonderful website called BigSafeDividends.com. It's put up by a guy named Chuck Carlson. He wrote a book, The Little Book of Big Dividends. I wrote the introduction for that book. If people ask me what one book should I read about the stock market, The Little Book of Big Dividends, because it talks about investing. Or you can do it simply. You can just go to a mutual fund like Vanguard or T. Rowe Price or Fidelity and buy an equity income fund and let them pick stocks with dividends. That cushions the fall if the market goes down, and for a lot of people, they want current income, and they take the dividends instead of reinvesting, and you spend them for whatever you want.
All right.
What about like putting it, if you don't want to go in the market at all, if you have some money, CDs don't have any type of percentage now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a problem today. Even if the Fed raises interest rates, it's going to be a little smidgen.
Right.
The savers, the grown-ups who have saved some money and plan to live on their income in retirement, are being totally, I can't think of a polite word to say what the government's doing. Their savers are now subsidizing the federal government. The Fed keeps rates low so the government can borrow cheaply, but those of us who have money and wanted to have an income from our savings, that's not happening anymore. Thus, dividends, one big part of the stock market and one reason to have some stocks, even when you don't want to take a lot of risk.
Gotcha.
All right. Some questions from viewers. I have 1/3 of my wealth in growth funds, 1/3 in real estate rental properties, and 1/3 CDs. I do not need any dividends in order to maintain my current lifestyle. Would it make any sense to sell the mutual funds and buy an annuity? I am 73 years old.
Oh, don't do that. That means there's a salesman out there talking to you about buying this product, a salesman whose retirement's going to be guaranteed by the commission he or she makes on that annuity. Look, annuities are fine in their place, and I'm not saying that you might not want to sell some of your mutual funds, but just remember, if you buy an annuity that starts paying immediately now, that check is fixed for the rest of your life. Live 25 years, which is possible at your age, and in fact, you could be getting a spending power that's half. At 3% inflation, the value of your money is cut in half in 25 years. If instead they're selling you one of those investment annuities, tax-deferred, so you can get tax-deferred growth, you're going to be hit with all kinds of fees. I generally do not recommend that kind of tax-deferred annuity once you're over 65, unless you're going to get one that starts when you're 80 and get a big lump payment. And number two, I think you don't want to lock all your money up in a check a month for life. By the way, if you die, 3 years later, the insurance company keeps all your money. That's an immediate annuity. So.
All right. What are penny stocks, and are they something to invest in or not? Who was it? I saw some movie about a guy who started his career on penny stocks. Was that The Wolf of Wall Street?
Well, was that with the Wolf? Penny stocks are stocks that are not only very low priced, very speculative, too low priced to even be listed on any of the major exchanges. And for everybody who's watching here, I think I can categorically say, I don't always say everything categorically, just don't do it.
Yeah. All right. What is worse when it comes to credit cards? 1, leave them open with a zero balance, or 2, closing them with a zero balance. I have good credit and would like to close some cards I don't use often, but I do not want to close them if it's going to hurt my credit.
You know, that is a very good question because it's a little of this, a little of that. First of all, your credit score is partially determined by how long you've had credit. So you do not want to close your oldest card. But you might want to close some cards, especially if you're paying $50 or $60 a year in fees. So the answer is to keep your oldest cards, use them once in a while, charge and then pay back in full. That keeps your credit history going. Unnecessary cards, ask the credit grantor to close them. Ask them to write on the credit report, closed at the request of the account holder, and then check your credit report to make sure they do that. So you don't want to have an overwhelming amount of open credit. That's not good for your credit either.
Okay.
All right. Her book is The Savage Truth on Money. You can find her at terrysavage.com. Terry, always good to talk to you.
Thank you, Terry.